What's up YouTube, it's JSOC or DoubleWrench here with another new little project. This is a 73 Kawasaki G4TR 100 that I just picked up from the original owner's son. He had it the last 5 years, didn't know what to do with it. So here we are. This thing's pretty cool, all original. The only thing he did to it was remove the carb for some reason, I guess to clean it or something, and then just leave it in a bowl. But yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to put back together. Might buy a rebuild kit for it, figure out where the heck everything goes. But there's that. First thing I'm gonna do, I guess, is blow the dust off of it. It had been sitting in his wood shop for the last 5 years, so I'm gonna blow the engine out, everything off, and then give it a good cleaning. First order of business is cleaning it up. Alrighty YouTube, it's been a week since I shot the last footage I showed here, but I was able to assess what I needed for this bike and order it off of eBay, which was just the throttle valve return spring, float bowl gasket, and a cotter pin that still hasn't come yet, but a little cotter pin for, I don't know, the slide adjustment, I guess, the idle adjustment. But yeah, after that stuff came last week on Friday, I believe, and a battery came, but that's charging at a buddy's house, I put all that stuff on this thing and tried to get it running. I kicked and kicked and kicked, tested for spark. It had spark, good spark on the head. So I put some gas in the cylinder and nothing. I put brake clean in the cylinder, nothing. Kicked and kicked and kicked and nothing. For I don't know why, I mean, it didn't even seem logical. Took it in the street and tried bump starting it. I would run on it and the clutch is frozen. When you pull this, it doesn't do anything, which I'm about to fix. Changing the transmission oil right now, but I'll get to that. After a few attempts bump starting, probably 5 actually, it gurgled to life a little bit. So I tried it again, and I'll be, man, the throttle cable was stuck at this point. I fixed that by just tightening it up at the carb. But it started ripping, dude. It was in gear, and the clutch didn't work, and it was like wide open. But that didn't even matter, man. Got it to run. And after that, it started on one kick, just kicking it. So I'll insert that little clip right here. So after starting it on one kick, it would start and then die after a few seconds and only run on choke. So I took the carb apart real quick and adjusted the float level. It's supposed to be 24 millimeters with the carb upside down. It was like 17. And then I sprayed compressed air and carb cleaner everywhere I could in the carb. And the compressed air spraying in where the fuel inlet had bubbles coming out around the base of where the needle and seat, or I guess where the needle goes in, this little nut thing that goes in there. So I tightened that down real good. Tightened that up real good, adjusted the float level, put the carb back together, and now it fires right up. So, well, I guess I'll insert a clip of that too. Working on the idle, but yeah, I was able to idle it for long enough to get it reasonably warm. And since the clutch is stuck, I'm going to pop the carb off again, pop the cover off the other side of the engine, and try to free that up. But for now, just oil changing it. Had to extract the oil level bolt for the dang sub transmission, but now that this is out, I can go ahead, put oil in that. But I might wait until I get that other thing taken care of, get the clutches out. So yeah, let's do that. Alright, next up I'm going to get this stuff off of here so I can take this cover off and access the clutches, soak them in some oil, sand the metal plates down, put them back together, see if they work. First things first, one thing I forgot to mention was I don't think the oil pump works. I disconnected this banjo bolt and ran it for a second with some premix in it, and no oil shot out, so yeah. Alright, I made it in. A lot of the screws were stripped, well a couple of them were stripped and I stripped one, but other than that, just pried that sucker off. There's the cover. Here's the clutch pack. Guess I'm going to pop it apart with these 8mm bolts and catch all the springs and stuff that come out, and then I'll try to free that thing up. These clutches sure are stuck together. Guess I'll try to pry them apart and I'll sand all these metal discs and then put it back together. Soak them in oil. Alright, that's all for tonight. I'm going to gather up my messed up screws that I had to extract to get some new ones at the hardware store tomorrow. Got the clutches and plates all separated, wire wheeled those off. We'll probably sand them tomorrow when I'm removing all the gasket from these surfaces before we'll probably RTV it. But yeah, I have these soaking in oil, so she should be ready to go back together tomorrow. I'm stoked. So those clutch discs were totally frozen. Now they should work. We'll see. Alright, it's a couple days later. I went to the hardware store, got some screws that'll work. It's just M6x1. And put the clutch back together, ready to get some sort of gasket situation going. I was gonna order a gasket, but they're 20 bucks and then I'd have to wait. And it's a little complex to make it out of cereal box real quick, so I'm just gonna goop some RTV black on there. Smear it on real good, wait like an hour and then tighten it. But yeah, clutch went on without a hitch. It's pretty easy. I guess nothing else to say besides that, so I'm gonna get to RTVing it and then put this back on, hand tighten it, come back in an hour, snug it down, or other way around, I don't know. And then tomorrow I'll fill it with oil and try to ride it. Alright, I cleaned both of the surfaces off really good, smeared RTV on both of them, stuck them together, waited half an hour, or just snugged the bolts up a little bit, waited half an hour, and then went around tightening them. Not to a torque spec or anything, just as tight as possible with this. So now I'm gonna wait 24 hours, then put fresh oil in it and see what happens. Alright guys, it's been a couple days since I put the trans case back on with the RTV. Doesn't look like there are any leaks, that's good. Hardware store screws worked great. But I put that back together, waited 24 hours for the RTV to cure, then filled it up with 6 milliliters, I believe, or 0.6 liters of 10W30 in the trans and 0.1 in the auxiliary or secondary or whatever trans. So those are all oil changed. And what else did I do? I mean, not really anything else, just popped the carb back on. Don't have the side cover on yet, but that's coming. And it's full of premix because the oil pump wasn't working, or so I thought. Still think it's not working, but we'll see. So anyways, yeah man, this thing rips now. I'm sorry I didn't film a lot of this, but I'm almost out of memory on my GoPro, and Corona has had me not want to go out and get another one yet. But anywho, yeah, this is just a little quarantine project, my Kawasaki G4TR 100. So I guess I'll do some flybys now or something. is happening? What has happened to my hog?